Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. My name is Pooja. Let's discuss the latest report by the NCRB, Crimes in India 2021. What has changed? Has the rate of crime increased or decreased? What are the sections where the crimes have increased or decreased? Everything has been analyzed in detail. So please stay in touch with this entire segment to have a better outlook towards what are the facts and how to frame answers. Okay, so today this particular segment will be important from the perspective of prelims as well as JS mains paper 3 and 2 as well. So let us begin with the various topics that we are going to cover under this. These are the many topics that we are going to cover. And of course, as I have already introduced why this particular section is in the news, apart from this particular news piece that is dedicated to crimes against women, we will discuss everything in brief so that you have an overall understanding of what is the trend that this particular report has registered. So as you see, first of all, we have to understand the process of crime. Many of us must be thinking that the crime has risen in India because of the failures of the police system. But actually, any person who commits a crime, it is based upon many complexities of social life. As we see that social process and structures make a human being. Now, if a person has been brought up in an environment where there is not a very strong narration with respect to what is right and what is wrong, this proves to be a problem. So people commit crimes due to the process of socialization that does not develop strong sense of what is wrong and what is right. So it could emanate from the social conditions that the person must be living in, or economic conditions, or something else. But society plays a huge role. Socialization plays a huge role. And the ever increasing desire is also one of the reason a person commits crime, in order to gain something. And that acts as a strong stimulus for taking to crime and to fulfill these desires. So these could be the certain reasons. It is very important from the perspective of ethics paper, you understand this. So it's just not because of the police system. A person, the roots of it should be analyzed. Then only we can understand where society as a whole is going wrong. Okay, let's talk about National Crimes Record Bureau. It came into existence in 1986 and it is headquartered in New Delhi. It is a repository of information on crime and criminals. This was the first job, and to assist the investigators in linking the crimes into to the perpetrators who are committing these crimes. So an information was needed at a national level. What are the trends with respect to crime and criminals? What can the investigators do to better their approach towards analyzing these crimes and criminals? NCRB was given this responsibility. After that, many other responsibility also was taken by the NCRB, but that we will not discuss because we have a lot to discuss about the analysis first. Okay, it is based, if we talk about NCRB, then NCRB is based on the recommendations of the Tandon Committee. Okay, remember that. Also, National Police Commission and the MHA's Task Force of 1985. So before NCRB came into existence, it was working in a very isolated and fragmented manner. But by joining all those fragmented departments, we got our NCRB. All right, moving ahead, let's talk about the Crime in India report of 2021. Now, whatever important analysis that we are going to make will be based upon the highlights of this report, and that will be compared to the highlights of the last report in a brief manner. So this is currently the 69th edition, remember that. For the first time ever, it was published in the year 1953, and after NCRB came into existence, the institutionalization of this crime report was more robust. Okay, and this is now a flagship report. Now, one of your homework is to ensure that you know what are the other reports given by the NCRB. Now, the correct information will pertain to the calendar years from 1st January to 31st December of 2021, whatever has happened in between them. And the collection of data is an ongoing process for the next term as well. The annual states and union territories data for crime in India is furnished by the 36 union territories, 36 states and union territories combined. And in what manner? NCRB prescribes a pro forma, and in that particular software system, these states and union territories have to fill in the information, and the data is entered by the state and union territory police at the police station district level. Okay, remember that, district level. So when we get our fragmented data together, an integrated data is presented in the form of the report Crimes in India. All right. Now, crimes in India, apart from these basic information, understand how do we count any crime. According to international standards, the Bureau follows the principal offense rule of counting the crime. That means if suppose a person is going to murder any other person, he may commit a number of offenses in that entire process, but the principal crime that draws the most flag, a legal flag that draws the most, you can say, harshest of the harshest punishment in the FIR, that will be counted, and that is the principal offense rule. Suppose I am going to murder somebody, then I will trespass into that person's premise, might assault them, and then I will kill them. This is of course hypothetical. So if I do that, if I murder somebody, that is the principal offense, that would be counted, but not the other offenses. Okay, so principal offense rule. Okay, moving on, if we discuss the highlights of the report, the data, many things are to be just read out, write them down, try to integrate them whenever a question arises with respect to the criminal trends in India. So many things that I'm going to read out over here. Wherever there is a necessity for me to make you understand something, I will come into the picture. Okay, so the current highlights say that total of more than 60 lakh, approximately 61 lakh cognizable crimes comprising of 36 lakh above Indian Penal Code and crimes under the special and local laws were registered in 2021. Now this shows a decline of 7.6% in registration of cases over 2020. Okay, so this is the comparative analysis. Now, total of more than 60 lakh cognizable crimes comprising 36 lakh, more than 36 lakh IPC crimes and 24 lakhs, this is approximately, of course, you can read the direct numbers, 24 lakh special and local laws crime were registered in 2021. Cognizable crimes are basically those crimes for which a police officer may arrest without a warrant according to the law. Okay, and it shows a decline of 7.6% in registration of cases over 2020. Now, a total of more than 11 lakh cases of offense affecting the human body were registered. That means impacting the human body, that could be from assault, simple hurt, murder, and any sort of other sort of assault. These were registered. That is 30% of the total IPC crimes in 2021. Apart from that, hurt accounted for the maximum cases. After that, we have causing death by negligence, and then kidnapping and abduction. Remember these, okay? Do not remember to know the exact data, but approximation would help. A total, if we talk about murder, then a total of more than 29,000 cases of murder were registered. This is a marginal increase of 0.3% over 2020 data. The biggest reason is dispute, after that enmity or vengeance, and then for any sort of gain. Okay, a total of more than 1 lakh cases of kidnapping and abduction. It shows an increase of 19.9% if we compare it to 2020. Now, and of course, if the population is increasing, the rate of crime will also increase. If we talk about crimes against women, then a total of more than 4 lakh cases of crimes against women were registered, and this is an increase of 15.3% if we compare it to the last year. The first reason is cruelty by husband or his relative. Second reason, assault on women with the intent to outrage the modesty, that means sexual assault, kidnapping and abduction of women, and then rape. Okay, the crime rate registered per lakh women population is 64.5% in 2021, and that was in 56.5% in the year 2020. So we see an increase here as well. Now, Assam has registered the highest number of crimes against women, that is followed by Odisha, Haryana, Telangana, Rajasthan, Rajasthan has the highest number of rape in 2021, and among the union territories, Delhi has emerged as the first with respect to rate of crime against women in 2021, and that the percentage is 147.6%. And you can see this particular graph, Assam, Odisha, Haryana, Telangana and Rajasthan, these have been compared, and you see the number of issues, the number of cases have been on the rise in all the cities. All the cities are registering a rise. That means there is something wrong with the society right now. Then comes crimes against children and senior citizens. Now, a total of more than 1 lakh cases of crime against children were registered during 2021. It shows an increase of 16.2%, of which kidnapping and abduction stand first. Other than that, protection of children from Sexual Offences Act cases were registered at 38.1%, including child rape. Haryana stands first with respect to crimes against children. Then it is followed by Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Odisha and Assam. Nagaland had the lowest rate of crime against children, and a total of more than 26,000 cases were registered for crime against senior citizens. It shows an increase of 5.3% if we compare it to the year 2020. Then comes crimes against scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. A total of more than 50,000 cases were registered, and that shows an increase of 1.2%, in which simple hurt was the first having the highest number of registration of crime. Cases against SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act stands second, and cases under Criminal Intimidation Act were third. A total of more than 8,000 cases were registered for crimes against the scheduled tribes. It's an increase of 6.4%. Simple hurt stands first. Then rape, after that assault on women with the intent to outrage their modesty. This shows that scheduled tribe women are much more vulnerable if we compare them to the scheduled caste. That means either they still have this particular people who do such sort of assault, they still have this mindset that a scheduled tribe belongs to the lowest of the lowest areas, and that is definitely not true. So there is something wrong with respect to the mindset of the society right now. Then a total of 52,000 cases, more than 52,000 cases were registered under cybercrime, for which gain through an increase of fraud, cybercrime fraud was registered first. Then we have sexual exploitation, and then we have extortion. Okay, that's an increase of 5.9%. Digital India is increasing and crimes are increasing too. Then comes accidental death. Here, the share of daily wagers among those who die by suicide in the country has crossed the quarter mark for the first time. What does it show? It shows that policies are not working properly, specifically after the COVID-19 impact. Other than that, the number has increased faster than the national average, because national average is 7.17%. However, the number of suicides in the daily wage group rose to 11.52%. And you see this particular graph is showing that if we talk about the number of suicides by daily wage earners is increasing in the total suicides. Okay, so that's a grim situation where Telangana, UP, Puducherry, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Manipur stand first with respect to such suicides. And highest percentage decrease, these are the increased ones. Decrease have been registered in Lakshadweep, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Jammu and Kashmir and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And you see daily wage earner 11.252% is the increase in suicide with respect to 2021. Then other than that, housewives, self-employed person, professional or salaried persons are also committing suicide. That is 7.05%. Housewife, you see 3.60%. And then we have students also committing suicides. So you see that accidental deaths with respect to suicides have increased with respect to daily wage earners. A total of more than 58 lakh persons were arrested, okay, with respect to the FIRs. Total of more than 44 lakh persons were charge sheeted. 8,85,000 persons were convicted. That means they were served punishment. More than 7 lakh persons were acquitted. That means they were acquitted of charges. They were not guilty. They weren't given any punishment, maybe because evidence wasn't clear or false FIRs. State, union, territory reporting the highest charge sheeting rate under IPC crimes are Gujarat, Puducherry and Andhra Pradesh. So I've tried to produce as much data as possible with respect to NCRB. There is much more to read, I assure you, and that volumes of 3 volumes are there with respect to this particular report, of which the first has been completely shaken up. There are many other crimes, environmental crimes, many other crimes that have to be read. Do read them, do try to plug the gaps. Okay, moving ahead, if we talk about the question for you to answer so that I can take your names in the next segment, please answer this question. Consider the following statements with respect to Crime in India report. It was published for the first time ever in 1953. It is published annually. The 69th edition shows that Rajasthan had the highest rate of rape. So how many statements are correct? 1, 2, all 3 statements are correct, or none of these statements are correct? For those of you who have answered my last question, stay tuned so that I can take your names for the correct answer. Okay, so yes, I asked a question for which Mali was the correct answer. So many of you have answered it correctly. Sandeep, Megha, Nandini, Vikas, Deepeshwar, Ramarao, Jagrati Koyal, Sanskar, Mini Sharma, Ramana, Praveen, Ashish, Ishu, also Deshraj, Anuj, you have answered it correctly. Tushita, Akash, Anandita, Priyanshu, Jaideep, Gajanan, Arunima, Raghav, Balaji, Pooja, Utkarsh, also Pallavi, then Akash, Shruti, Rupal, Sudarshan, and also Jivisha, then Kanika, also Alokdeep, Akash, Himanshu, Aditya Birla, Vishwanathan, Sabha Parveen. Thank you so much for answering this last question. Please answer this question as well so that I can interact with you in the next segment. Thank you so much for watching. Stay updated.